Hi, how you doing? So welcome to One Image My Edit, and in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how you can completely change the atmosphere of an image by messing around and adjusting the color. So when it comes to this kind of imagery, I just wanted to show you how you can take an image that is like this on the left here, which is just shot during the golden hour, and it's a lovely warm light coming across the field here. But if you see on the right hand side, we've completely changed the mood and feel to the shot, and I think it's really important that you understand that color plays a vital role in how an image will feel. So I'm going to reset this and walk you through the process. Okay, so to start with, we're going to just have a play around with the color temperature, and I'm going to show you something really cool at the end as well that you can do that will completely change the whole image again. So I'm just dropping that color temperature down, and I'm just going to push the tint up just a little bit. There we go. So I want to bring the exposure down quite a bit because we're going to be manipulating these colors, and I just want there to be a little bit more information within the shot. We can come back later and adjust that if we need to. So I'm going to boost the contrast right up to 100%, and I'm going to bring the highlights down minus 100%. So it's quite an extreme edit. Shadows, going to bring them up to around there. That's good. And then the whites and the blacks, I'm going to drop the whites and then boost the blacks up as well. So you can see what we've got there. We've completely flattened that image. Okay, so I know it looks a little bit like dishwater at the minute, but it will look better at the end, I promise. So with the clarity, we're just going to drop that down a little bit as well, just take some of that sharpness away. There we go. And the dehaze, I'm going to drop that to around minus 14 as well, just to help us bring out a little bit more color. I'm going to boost the vibrance up a little bit, and I'm actually going to bring down the saturation as well. I'm going to bring that down just to take the sting out of that yellow. So let's just do this down to around there. I think that's good, 36. Okay, so moving on to the tone curve, we're going to add just a slight S curve to the image, just to bring in some contrast. So I'm going to start down here where the blacks are and just mat that off a little bit. There we go, and just bring this down as well. There. And then the mid-tones, I just want to bring them down to around here. That's it. So the whole point of this is just to really, in essence, we're flattening the image even more so that we can then manipulate the colors. And when we do this, it just means that when we manipulate these colors in the HSL panel, we're not going to get loads of sort of wishy-washy colors. They're all going to be very muted. So let's start with the hues. So orange, I'm going to go up to about there. Yellows, I'm going to push them up as well. I'm going to bring the greens down a little bit. And I'm actually going to be adding green as the main kind of color to the whole of the image. So aqua, it's about there. That's good. I'm going to bring this blue down. There we go. And then purple and magenta, I'm going to push them up. So I'm going to push the purple to around 58. That's good. Magenta, I'm going to push that up as well, probably a little bit more. That's good, about 70. So let's move to the saturation. So the red, let's push this up. Think about there's good. And then the orange, let's bring that down. Minus 12, that's looking good. The yellow, I'm going to bring that down. Same with the green. That's good. And then the blue, I'm going to completely, aqua, sorry, not so much around there. And the blue, I'm going to take that out. You can see what that does. It just takes away that blue that's at the top there. It's quite dominant. Purple, just take a little bit of that out. And then magenta, About there, I think is good. Okay, so just have a look so you can see what's happening there. We're just stripping away all them bright colors, you can see. Okay, so let's go into the luminance and let's just adjust these. So the luminance is the brightness of the colors, so we can now really manipulate how bright these colors are, and again that has a really big impact on how the final image will look. So let's boost the oranges up and the yellows as well. 70, that looks good. Green, I'm going to push that up 100, and let's have a look. Aqua, around 22, that's pretty good. So the blues, let's push them back up. Now we have caused a little bit of banding on there, but we can sort that out later, that's not a problem. And let's push this up to 20, that was pretty good. And then magenta, let's just do the same around there. Good. Okay, so if we look at what we've just done with that, we've completely manipulated them colors, and you can see that we've taken and stripped away a lot of colors. We've really dulled it down, and we've just made certain colors that are quite dominant in this a little bit brighter. So yeah, you can see there by the saturations we've pulled down a lot of colors, and same with the hues as well. In fact, we could just, I'm going to bring in that blue back 95 there, just because we've got pushing it up a little bit higher on that end. There we go, that looks good. Okay, so let's now add some color back into this with the color grading panel. So let's start with the shadows. That's the first one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in a hue of 110. So you've got like this green going on, and saturation of anywhere between 7 and 10. I'm going to start with 7. That looks pretty good. Let's jump over to the highlights, and the highlights I'm going to do a hue of 190 and a saturation of about 13 or 14. That looks good. Yep, so we've got a really nice sort of blue, is bordering on aqua, I would say there. That looks pretty good. Now with the highlights, I want to bring up the luminance a little bit, so the brightness of it. So let's just bring that up to, there we go. So what that's doing is just bringing that color out a little bit more, and yeah, just make it a little bit more dominant. So I'm going to go with the blending and the balance. And the blending, I'm going to push all the way to 100, and then the balance, I'm just going to start bringing that down to, there we go, minus 46, 47. That looks good. Okay, so let's move on to the sharpen, the detail section here. So I want to bring this up a little bit, so probably to around 40, 38, around there. That's pretty good. Radius at 1 pixel, and detail, leave it around 25. Noise reduction, we want to include that, so probably around 10, that would do. And then color, probably a little bit more, because we have been manipulating these colors a little bit more, and leave them on 50. So 25 is, that's okay. That's okay, because I'm just looking at this area here. I'm not worried about this sky at the minute. It's just these areas around here. Okay, right. So if we now come back up to the top here, and let's click on the mask up here and just select sky, and then let's just take the overlay away. Let's come to the dehaze, and let's just start pulling that down until that banding starts to go. So about there, I think is a good point. That looks good. So that just kind of helps us with that banding on the sky, and kind of clears that up. There's maybe a little bit here, so we could push that up a little bit, but these are actually that's part of the picture. It does look like banding, but it's not. It's actually part of the picture. So that's okay. So that's how you do it. That's how you create this kind of moody atmosphere to an image. And you can see that the difference that you get, one is obviously it's lovely lovely warm golden light that's coming across, a golden hour light, and then just by completely changing them colors, you can see what we've done. We've created a different mood or a different atmosphere. This is very menacing, this is very moody and dark, so it just shows you what can be achieved when you manipulate color. Now, I did say at the beginning I'll show you something with a color temperature, and this is actually quite interesting. So if you increase this color temperature, you'll see what happens is you can actually create almost like a snow scene. Oh, not too far. But yeah, you can almost create this kind of snow scene, a bit like the NeuroFilters do within Photoshop. So you can see there, again, this is just manipulating color. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Because you've now added almost like a little bit of frost to the image. You've just brought that coolness out a little bit. So you can play around with the color temperature as well, and that will give you, again, to give you a little bit more mood and atmosphere to play with. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Have a play around, do this to your own images and just see what you get. But the main aspect of this really is just to show you that color is just as important as the direction of light, the quality of light, the quantity of it, all of that. The color is really important to adding that mood and atmosphere. So yeah, have a play, see how you get on, and I'll see you in the next video.